Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we have our 7th lesson, which is the rules of Laam, Alif and Ra. So quick note there. If you remember, last time we said that Laam, Ra and Alif are in the sometimes tafkheem, sometimes tarqeeq group. Now let's first start with the rule of Alif. Very important note is that we're only talking about Alif Med, the vowel. We're not talking about Hamza, the A sound. This rule only applies to Alif Med, the vowel. Now the rule of Alif is really just pretty simple. It just follows the letter before it. So if the letter before it is a tafkheem letter, then it also has tafkheem. And if the letter before it is a tarqeeq letter, then it also has tarqeeq. It's very simple. Let's look at some examples. So for example, here you have the word صادقين. Sad is a tafkheem letter, and so the alif also has tafkheem, and it's said as sa, ah. You hear it's very deep, it just follows the letter before it. Now compare that with sajidin. Sin is a tarqeeq letter, and you say sa. Compare that with sa. Not only is the sad and sin themselves different, but also the alif that follows them is very different. Now the second rule is the rule of Laam. Laam is a tarqeeq letter, except when it's in the word Allah. Then it's sometimes tafkheem, sometimes tarqeeq letter. In any other case that's not the word Allah, it's always tarqeeq. Now in the word Allah, let's start with the tafkheem cases. The first case is when the word Allah is preceded by a letter which carries a fatha on it. In that case, the Laam is a tafkheem letter. So for example, saying قال الله, Allah. You hear the deepness of the Laam. Another case is when Allah is preceded by a letter which carries a dhamma on it. In that case, the Laam has a tafkheem, such as Abdullah, Allah. You hear that? It follows the rules of tafkheem that we outlined in the previous video. Another case is when Allah is the first word in the sentence, so when it begins the sentence. In that case, it also has tafkheem. So for example, Allahu Nur. Another case is when Allah is preceded by a waw med. We're only talking about the vowel, we're not talking about the wa sound, we're talking about the vowel sound. So for example, قالوا Allahum is a derivative of Allah, so it also follows the same rules. So to sum it up, the tafkheem case is when it's preceded by dhamma, by fatha, by a vowel waw, or if it begins the sentence. Now moving on to the tarqeeq cases. So the first case is when Allah is preceded by a kasra. In that case, the Laam is a tarqeeq letter. So for example, Bismillah. You hear the difference between Bismillah and Abdullah, Allah. That's the difference between a tarqeeq Allah and a tafkheem Allah. Another case is when it is preceded by a ya med, a vowel ya. We are only talking about the vowel, not the consonant at all. So in that case, it also has tarqeeq, such as fillah, illah. It's a light letter. It follows the rules of tarqeeq. So that's it for the rule of Laam. Now moving on to the most complicated one, which is the rule of Ra. Sadly, as I've said before, I can't pronounce the letter Ra. I'll outline the theory, and I strongly suggest you listen to surahs such as Al-Qamar or Hud, which have a lot of Ra'as. Now, starting with the theory, let's start with the tafkheem cases. So the first case is when Ra has a fatha on it, such as in the word Rabbana. So if you hear any muqri', any sheikh pronouncing those, you'll hear it with a tafkheem. Another case is when the Ra has a dhamma on it, such as in the word ruziqana. The qaf has qalqala, if you remember. The Ra should have tafkheem. Another case is when the Ra itself has a sukoon, but the Ra before it has a fatha. In that case, it also carries a tafkheem, such as in the word khardal. The Ra has sukoon, but the Kha has a fatha. Other cases when Ra also has sukoon, but the Ra before it has a dhamma, such as in the word Al-Quran. If you hear any sheikh or any person who reads the Quran, you'll notice they read it with a tafkheem. Another case is when Ra is sakina is preceded by an Alif mad, the vowel, or Alif wasl. So preceded by Alif mad, such as in the word an-nar, or preceded by Alif wasl, which is indicated in the Quran by a small sad over the alifs. Another case is when it's preceded by a vowel, again only talking about the vowels, such as in the word al-ghafur. In that case, it should be pronounced with tafkheem. Now moving on to the tarqeeq cases. So the first case, obviously, is when Ra has a kasra on it. In that case, it should be pronounced with tarqeeq as a light letter, such as in the word fariha. Another case is when Ra itself has sukoon, but before is a vowel, again only talking about the vowel, such as in the word qadir. Here you have a vowel before the Ra. And the last case is when Ra itself has sukoon, the La before it has a kasra, such as in the word isbir. In that case, it should be pronounced as a tarqeeq letter. That, however, has an exception. The exception to this rule is when the letter after the Ra is one of the tafkheem letters. So, although the Ra has a sukoon and the La before it has a kasra, if the La after it is one of khussa daght and qidh, the tafkheem letters, it carries a tafkheem. Such as in the word qirtas, as you can see you have a ta, which is a tafkheem letter after the Ra, so you should pronounce the Ra with tafkheem rather than tarqeeq. So sorry for the inconvenience that I can't pronounce it. Please don't let it be a barrier to your learning. Be sure to listen and practice, and assalamu alaikum.